What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Shop Mini RC. I'm Ken, and today we've got something way cool to check out. We've got a Fair RC mod truck, and if you haven't guessed it, it's the way Cool McCue. We're going to go ahead and open this guy up right now. Man, Fair RC's killing it with their mods. If you don't know, Fair RC does a bunch of mod stuff. They will take a bunch of different FMS trucks or even other brands, and they will fully mod them out with new paint jobs, all kinds of cool stuff. But something special is in store for this McCue mod. It's not just paint. If you know anything about William McCue, he's one of the lead guys out there doing aftermarket scale upgrade accessories, interiors, fenders, visors, tire racks, inner fender wells, you name it. He does it for the FMS products and the FCX platform. And so Fair RC and him got together and they did something very special here. So we're going to get this onto the bench, and I'll tell you a little bit more about Mr. McCue himself, as well as diving into this awesome mod from Fair RC. Let's go. First off, we've got our manual for the K5 Blazer. This is the FCX24 platform. You already know this guy more than likely, so we're not going to go too into that. Fair RC sends along a bunch of stickers, which is awesome. Got a box of Batrazzi parts. We'll get into this here in a little bit, but a little sneaky peeky here. Boom. Some shocks. What is this? Bottle opener. Links. Fuzzy stuff. We'll get into this in a minute, guys. And then our Fair RC mod. Let's go ahead and open this guy up. Boom. Yes. Man, I can't express how good this looks in person. They look really good online and pictures, all that. But when you get it in person, oh my goodness, guys. The detail and the color. There's like flake even in the gray. The gray is flaked. The red is flaked. This is definitely way cool. We're going to go ahead and pull this guy off here. Man, I wish wish you could see it a little better on camera. See the interior there? There's a zero depth interior with the seats and the steering wheel. Hold on. Let me see something here. All right, we're going to use our phone here maybe. See if we can... why is our light not working? There we go. Bam! See if I can get some interior to show for you guys. You see that? A little bit better. There you go. Yeah. Maybe in through the back here. I don't know. It's not conveying very well on video, that's for sure. There you go. You can see the steering wheel. Nice. I feel like it's something that if you pulled out and painted up in a lighter color, it would definitely show pretty well. But yeah, so definitely cool to have an interior. Beware of collision to avoid appearance damage, guys. Do not collide if you do not want appearance damage. This truck is a FCX24 K5 Blazer, but with clearly a custom paint job. Painted all the way through with our zero depth interior, designed by William McCue. Go ahead and set this aside. We also have on this particular version Batrazzi wheels and tires. So these Batrazzi tires are 60 by 25.4 by 23.5. So they're 1 inch, but they're 60 millimeters in diameter. So that's a pretty good size. Obviously, they've got the offset and clearance for the portals because they are designed for the FCX24 in particular. I think they look fantastic with the body. I mean, this truck just looks too dang good. And we haven't even gotten the accessories on it yet. There's, of course, all the accessories that come with it normally, which is the roll cage. If you pop this camper topper off, there's a roll cage. Lights for the K5 truck version, or K10, if you will. And our charger and our hex wrench and the O-rings for the oil-filled shocks, because we can fill these shocks with oil. However, they do offer a version that comes with shocks. So let's talk about the different versions they have. Here's our Batrazzi stuff. Now again, there's 3 different versions of this truck for options, different options. The first one is a 159 version. And that version comes with the Chevy K5 Blazer, obviously, and it's repainted in this red and dark gray. It's also got the zero depth interior. Now that's all you're going to get with that one, but that is still a fantastic deal. If you're looking for an awesome, awesome looking truck, that zero depth interior and that red just really pops. And it's $159. I mean, you can't beat that. It's basically the price of any of the other FMS trucks. Then for just $10 more, you get the Batrazzi wheels and tires installed. And then there's the way cool edition. That one's $199, and it comes with the Chevy K5 Blazer, obviously, the repaint, obviously, the interior, the wheels and tires. It also comes with a swing out rear bumper. Let's check that out real quick. Here's our hardware. Oh, a hitch. We'll get there. So it comes with the swing out bumper, which uses basically the stock bumper mounts. Comes with the extra Batrazzi matching tire. So if you get, or wheel and tire, if you get the black, it'll come with the black. I believe the silver comes with the silver. You pull this little pin and this guy swings right open, just like a real one. You got your jerry can, you can paint that up red if you'd like. Unscrews very simply from the back. Fantastic. Looks like we got a little bit of packing squish, but that'll come out over time. So I'm not too worried about that. Very quality. This is 3D printed stuff, but it's a high quality 3D print. Again, this is all designed by William McCue. We've also got this guy that comes with, and this is a hitch that mounts right underneath the McCue bumper. And that's a McCue hitch for his McCue trailers. If you have any of those, or you're looking to get one, that's the hitch he's using. You can also, you might be able to find a way to mount the other ball hitches in there. Basically, this just is a single screw. Just pop this out, and you can put a different hitch in there. In addition to the McCue printed stuff, we have the Batrazzi Upgrades pack in that $199 edition. It comes with the suspension links, apparently a bottle opener, which is cool. The oil-filled shocks, which are pretty sweet. They have a matching red. And then a servo horn, and the steering link set, and they're all in red to help match that truck. So these are some awesome upgrades from Batrazzi. They're kind of up and coming for the FCX platform. FRC is working with these guys to help bring some awesome additional upgrades that you can pick up when you pick up your truck, or when you buy the Way Cool McCue 199 edition, the fully cooled out McCue edition. All right, so let's talk about McCue a little bit. If you don't know McCue, he's done a lot of work in interiors and accessories like this for a bunch of different platforms. He even has stuff for the FCX24. He did the Mantis links. We actually have a set right here of Mantis links. These are actually aluminum. They just got produced. He's going to be releasing those soon in conjunction with another company, which is awesome. But these Mantis links, I've got a video on them right over here. So definitely check out that video if you're interested in what Mantis links are. They're ultra high clearance for the FCX24. They also allow you to put behind the axle steering. So your steering link actually goes behind your axle, which is very unique. It's the only one I've seen set up like that. So that's what got my attention when I started following McCue. I'll tell you right now, Mr. McCue, Mr. William McCue, is indeed very cool. I got the opportunity to spend the entire weekend with him this last weekend at Proline by the Fire. And, well, like you saw in the beginning, I was wearing sunglasses because Mr. McCue always wore sunglasses. Well, at least while we were outside, right? We were working the booth together, and he was a blast to hang out with. And his trucks are off the hook. He does so many crazy mods, and he's got so much stuff that isn't even listed on his eBay store yet. But hopefully it's going to be coming soon, and you should definitely check that out. I'll put that down in the comments below, his eBay store, in addition to, obviously, FairRC's link to the Way Cool McCue K5 Blazer. Guys, I'm going to get all this stuff installed. Actually, before we do that, I want to just show you, I've got a box of Mr. McCue's stuff, and I still have to do some videos on this stuff, but he sent over a ton of awesome upgrades for different trucks. There's even, these are like sliders for electronics. Got another rear swing out bumper with a red jerry can. I mean, just tons of stuff. Visors, inner fenders. What is this? A front bumper. This might end up on this guy here. get a matching blacked out front bumper with the matching blacked out rear bumper. That'll probably end up on there. What else we got? Inner fenders. I mean, just tons of stuff, guys. This bed for the Power Wagon. Oh my goodness, this bed is so sick. Basically sits like this, and the shocks show through there. It's such a cool setup. Angry Grill for the Power Wagon. He has tons of FCX24 Power Wagon Butcher upgrades. So I just wanted to show you this box of goodies, and that he just, again, this is just a tiny part, really. Some square tube bumpers. This is a tiny part of what he offers and what he's designed. Another interior. Well, this is actually an interior for a custom Power Wagon we're doing. Anyway, some very, very cool stuff. I've been supporting Mr. McCue's as early as I could, basically right at the beginning, and I love everything he does. And I just was excited, like beyond belief, when I heard that he was getting his own mod with FMS. William is still in college, for those who didn't know. He is a young guy, and he's going to be making waves in the future for sure. He just needs to keep on pushing and keep on doing cool stuff, and I think people will keep on buying. And I'm excited to see that journey that he's going to take. So big shout out to William and FMS for hooking up together, guys. You guys are going to be killing it. This truck is awesome. And the collaboration is even more awesome. I would love to see more collabs like that in the future, and just bringing us some really cool stuff for those that want to just like buy something different. They don't have a 3D printer. They can't do that kind of stuff. You can always pick up that kind of stuff from McCue and FMS. If you don't want to paint, they'll paint for you. You don't want to print, McCue will print for you. You can buy them together as a bundle. Can't be beat, guys. Can't be beat. All right, we're going to go ahead and get this stuff installed on here, and I'll show you what it's about. So first thing we're going to do is go ahead and install our bumper. And you got to take your included hardware here, and you're just going to screw it right in to your hitch mount, essentially. This guy right here. Should be super simple. Remember, guys, you are going into a 3D printed material, so don't over tighten. Just get it enough to where it's snug, and you should be good. You don't have to worry about your screws backing out or anything like that, because you are going into a plastic. It's going to take a little bit of effort to get that screw in, and make sure you're pushing in as you do it, because again, it's kind of self-threading. You're threading as you go in. They're not pre-threaded. They're just holes drilled in the material. All right. Nice and stable there. Then we just pop this guy off, pull off the old bumper, put on our new one. Bumper comes off with just these two screws. You can see they are slightly shorter than the included screws, and that's because this bumper is thinner than this bumper. So you're going to want to use your thicker screws here. Look at that. It slides right over the tailgate here. Fits right in there like a glove. And you're nice and snug. Bam, just like so. Love it. Such a cool thing for somebody who's into scale and trailing. Obviously, if you're going to do some hardcore rock crawling, having a heavy wheel and tire on the back is not ideal, but that's not what the way Cool McCue is for. It's for cruising down the trail with all your buddies, scaled out lights, scaled out bumper, and looking good. Photo opportunities galore. All right, so what we're going to do next, I guess we'll do the performance upgrades now, right? Go ahead and throw our shocks and links and all that good stuff on. So first things first, we got to pull off all the wheels so that we can get to the shocks and the links. So let's get that done. Now I did want to point out while we're working on the wheels and tires here that these Batrazzi 1.0 Steely beadlock wheels do have brass inserts. So they have some weight to them. Actually, we can go ahead and weigh one real quick. We'll just do a real quick weigh of the wheel and the tire. I'm not going to take them apart, but the wheel and tire is 42.5 grams. So pretty good if you're trying to add a little bit of weight, even if you don't get the Way Cool McCue mod The Batrazzi wheels are definitely slick. You can also flip the hubs to the other side and get a different offset, which is very cool. And like I said, they come in silver and black. I dig them quite a bit. I've always been a fan of these style of wheels, though, just the Steelies, old school Steelies. And they will work on most 24 scale and 18 scale trucks. Again, they've got enough offset and clearance for the portals here. So if they fit the FCX, they'll fit just about anything else. These tires are the Mud Pro X 1.0s. They're MT tires. They are super squishy. You can kind of hear that, right? Yeah, they're nice and sticky. I think these are going to be some pretty good tires, actually. They're very soft. You can see I'm barely pushing, and they're folding, which is very nice because it means it's going to be grabbing. And the pattern seems pretty good, so I think these tires are going to be good for sure. Again, not that we're building this as a hardcore comp crawler or anything like that. It's more of a trail truck and just a show-off truck. Maybe some minor, simple crawling and whatnot. It's probably going to pull a trailer for us at some point. But having that grip for when you do need to get a little crawling, definitely good. And again, even if you're not getting the way Cool McCue, check out the Batrazzi tires because they seem good. Now that we've got everything off, I guess let's go ahead and do the first thing. Let's go ahead and do our steering links up here. So our servo horn, our steering links. I'm sitting here trying to tear these open like a dum-dum. They don't tear open. They're just like this. I was thinking it was like a food package, like beef jerky, and you have to like peel it off and then you can open it. No, you just open them. Come on now, Ken. Come on now. Which is nice, because if you ever want to put stuff back in them, you can reseal it. So I like that they're resealable. So some nice looking parts here. I like that they've got the machined edge. Oh, this isn't going to be resealable. We're going to have to cut this guy. And our servo horn. So this servo horn does remove the servo saver, so just be aware. Putting on a servo horn like this with no servo saver could put you at risk of destroying your servo. So just be smart in how you climb. If you get stuck in a rut, don't push it all crazy hard. This is not a good screwdriver for that. Let's do this guy. But yeah, if you remove the servo saver, just keep that in mind. Being crazy with your driving is going to put your servo at a little bit more risk than if you had a servo saver. Ta-da! All right. We'll go ahead and pull our steering links out. Just be careful when you're working with the truck. I don't know if you noticed, but one of my hexes just fell out, which means one of my axle pins might have fallen out. So when you take your wheels and tires off, you got to be careful to watch for that. Usually I pull them off just so I know where they went. Yeah, there's an axle pin right there. So good thing we were working on a bench. One of these little guys just fell out. So just keep that in mind. Go ahead and pull them all out so we don't lose them. Sometimes these hexes are really stuck on there, and sometimes they come off just by going like that. So don't want to lose that. All right, so now we're good there. We're not going to mount our servo horn on our servo yet because we need to turn on the truck and power it all up and make sure everything's centered. So first we'll go ahead and do our links, and then we'll get our link attached to our servo horn, and then we'll get our servo horn attached to our servo. So first things first, you got to put your little O-rings on all your ball ends. So on your ball end, your link end, you have two sides. One side's a little bit larger diameter than the other. So we're going to do that side first. And then that side, you can slide through your link end. You want the larger flat side on the uncaptured side, right? That way it doesn't pull. If your O-ring broke or something, your link wouldn't just pull off, right? If we flipped it the other way and we put it in this way, this is the top of our link, okay? If you put it this way and that O-ring breaks, this thing can come right off. So make sure you put the larger diameter of the ball end on the uncaptured portion, right? Because this is going to be up against your knuckle. So obviously the link can't go this way, but it could come off this way. So you're going to want to do it like that. and then put your O-ring on the other side. And we're going to do that on both sides. And it looks like we have just enough O-rings to do all the parts. One of the things that I have had experience with in other manufacturers is sometimes they'll include an extra O-ring or an extra small part that might get lost or break during assembly. And so that would be super nice. Maybe Batrazzi can look into that, just including just an extra O-ring, because you never know if an O-ring breaks, or, you know, I'm sitting here trying to put it on, I lose it, and I've got to stress to find another O-ring when they could just include one more. That'd be super nice. Even small screws sometimes, maybe not these guys, but I have seen, well, some manufacturers will include one extra screw, one extra O-ring. I've even seen one manufacturer that included like an extra of every small part, even the ball joints and stuff. So just something to think about if anybody from Batrazzi is watching this here video. Maybe take that into consideration. It definitely helps people, especially newer people, when something goes awry, or if there's an issue with the packing, like manufacturing, and you guys miss one, well, there's an extra in there. So that would be nice. Again, your larger side on the uncaptured portion. So this is going to be our top. It's going to go like so. Okay. Now I'm going to use a little bit of Loctite here because I'm going metal into metal. You should always use just a tiny bit of Loctite. That way you don't have to over tighten, but never use Loctite. And also use blue, right? It's the blue thread locker, medium strength. But never use Loctite on plastic, because if you put Loctite on plastic, it will degrade. So just a tiny bit. And that will help us not back out here. And then that also means we don't have to over tighten. You don't have to tighten it nearly as much when you've got Loctite. And then you don't have to worry about stripping. So a little pro tip there. All right, so this next one, I believe the servo horn is going to be behind the link. Sometimes you put the link behind the servo horn. Sometimes you put the servo horn behind the link. And in this case, I believe the link is going to be on top of the servo horn. Like this, which means we need the larger portion on the outside so that it stays captured. Our O-ring, and then our servo horn. Again, we will Loctite this guy as well. Just a tiny, tiny dab. And there we go. Okay, go ahead and get our two screws here into our knuckles, and then we'll power this guy up and make sure our servo is centered, and then get our servo horn on. Don't over tighten this, don't Loctite this, because if you over tighten it, you'll strip it very easily, and if you Loctite it, it'll degrade the plastic and you'll have a bad day. Got our batteries in our remote. They might be low batteries. Yeah. All right, all right. All right, new batteries. There we go, no beeping. Whoa. So don't forget, when your truck's brand new out the box, you might want to change things like your drag brake or your forward brake reverse settings. Right now, looks like we don't quite have it set right. So the first thing you want to do is hit reverse twice. And that'll take you into blink mode. And then you can choose your drag brake. Basically, your steering minus is 0 drag brake, 50% drag brake, 75% drag brake, and 100% drag brake. Since we're not doing crazy crawling, we're just going to do like 75% drag brake. Then you can also press the bind button to cycle through your drive modes. That's your forward reverse, forward brake reverse, stuff like that. So we hit it once. Now we're on forward reverse. We hit it. Looks like our trim's a little off. We'll fix that in a minute. If we hit it again, we'll get forward brake, no reverse. Maybe because our trim's off. Either way, hit bind again, and you have forward reverse, and that's what you want for a crawler. If you're doing a race car, you want forward brake reverse or a basher, but for a crawler, forward reverse. And then you can just go ahead and, I guess, cycle the power, and you're good to go. Let's go ahead and take our throttle trim down. I don't know where our trim was so far off on our throttle, but should be good now. You basically want to set your throttle trim to where you hear no whining or power going to the motor at all. So that should be dead center. If you hear noise, just a little bit of a hum or a whine, you need to adjust your trim just a little more, and then you're good to go. All right, so we're good to go now. Our steering, let's go ahead and make sure our steering is centered. So that means it's all the way to one side. We don't want that. We want it to be centered. So we'll hold it down until it beeps, a long beep. So that means we should be centered. Let me see if I can keep going that way. Yeah, I can. So for some reason it was trimmed all the way to the left. We'll go ahead and go back. When you hear that, that means it's centered, okay? So our trim is now centered on our remote, centered on our servo. And now we can go ahead and center our steering, our actual knuckles, and get our steering servo horn on there. So just make sure your knuckles are square, and then you can go ahead and... So the servo horn actually is going to be in front of the drag link. So we're going to flip this guy around, pop our O-ring off, flip this to the other side, and then we will go ahead and screw it into the back of the servo horn this time. And our Loctite didn't completely dry yet, so we're good. All right, that should hook up a lot easier now. Again, just make sure your knuckles are square, and then you can drop your horn on. Ta-da! Now your steering might still be off just a little bit depending on the splines. And again, you're centering your knuckles, not your servo horn, because your servo horn might be off depending on the length of your link here. This one's pretty close, it looks like. You won't know if it's totally centered until you drive it, but just be aware that not always is your servo horn perfectly straight up and down. Sometimes it'll be off to the side one way or another to get your knuckles straight, because again, depends on the length of the drag link. This is our servo screw. We're going to go ahead and just do a tiny bit of Loctite on this guy as well, because he is going into a metal servo spline there. Ooh, and I like it. They include a hex head versus a Phillips head. The original was a Phillips head. I hate when there's Phillips head servo screws. All right, and we're good. Now, while we're here, we're going to try to get a little extra steering. If you notice, if this is the first time we're using an FCX, you'll see there's two little screws, one here and one here, that'll hold the C-hubs on. And the knuckles end up hitting on those. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull those screws out. You can do this on any FCX, FCX24, FCX18. I don't know why they don't do this from the manufacturer. Maybe they're doing it to help make sure people don't break the CVDs, but I've never broken a CVD, so I don't know. Another thing that might be easy, might be a little easier to do it with the links off. Oh no, you're good. You got clearance here, so you don't have to do it with the steering link off. But if you do have it off, it would make it a little easier, but you don't have to. You just flip it to the back, and now you're gonna have a lot more clearance for these knuckles to turn. I mean, heck, you can already see it. Look how much more it's turning. Yeah! Some good turn radius there. All right, now we're going to get onto our shocks and our links. So these shocks seem pretty smooth. We have different weight springs, so if you want the heavier spring, the silver is the heavier of the two, it looks like. Here, we can check. Yeah, the silver is definitely heavier. You can kind of see it too, the thickness of the spring. You can also see the number of coils in there, interestingly. Less coils in the silver than the black. Anyway, we're going to keep the black on there for now. All right, so we'll go ahead and assemble our links. If you take a look here on the stock ones, these are exposed, whereas these are captured. So again, make sure you put your larger flanged side of the ball joint on the outside. That way these don't just pop off if your O-ring breaks or as the O-ring wears. So yeah, when we put these guys together, they're gonna go like this. So again, large side out. That way it can't pull through, and then you can throw your O-ring on. The front doesn't matter as much because it's captured by the shock, but we're just going to go ahead and do the same thing. Have the large side on the outside here. That way we're consistent. Okay, and this guy will go right in there. Okay, all of our links are prepped. We're going to go ahead and pull off a shock and link here. We'll do one, show you, and then you can do the rest. The extra little ball joints, these silver ones down here, these guys are for if you didn't do the shocks. Like if you wanted to use your stock shocks, you would pop this ball joint out and you would put these in, and then the screw will pass all the way through. And then same with the shocks. If you just bought the shocks, not the links, you would need these ball joints to put into your stock links. The way the screw can pass all the way through. So that's what those extra little silver ball joints are for. If you have both the shocks and the links, in the case of the Way Cool McCue, then you don't need to use those. But if you bought these separately, and you only bought one set, then you definitely would. All right, let's go ahead and get a link going on here. Remember, we're going into plastic here, so don't over tighten, don't use Loctite. Super simple though. Another thing to note, if you feel like you want less tightness, depending on how you drive your truck and things of that nature, some people want more articulation or don't like how it feels kind of tight. You can always remove one of the O-rings. I usually remove the O-ring on the inside. It doesn't really matter though. And then when you choose your shock, make sure you do, again, the larger flange side to the outside. And then you can throw your screw in, and throw your link through, and screw into your shock mount. Make sure you're straight as possible so you don't cross thread, and then you're good to go. Just get it snug. Right. The Batrazzi shocks also have this standoff, so that's nice. That way you're not hitting on anything. Plenty of space there. All right. I have a video on modifying this truck or this platform, the FCX24, using the K5. You can check it out over here. Basically, it shows moving your shocks in so that you get a little bit more articulation because they'll be at a little bit more of an angle. Moving it up so it actually lowers the truck just a little bit. You actually mount your shock right here. Basically, just putting a hole through there and putting a new shock mount. And a couple other things. So definitely check out that video over there if you are new to the FCX platform and you're looking for some cheap and free mods. Definitely check that out. All right, we're going to go ahead and get the other 3 in, but it's as simple as that. These Batrazzis are very cool because you can adjust your preload collar here to get just the right amount of droop. I usually like to try to run my trucks at about half droop, so it's like this at the natural state once you've got your body and everything and you set it down. I like to have my trucks sit right around halfway, maybe around 60%. So they ride low, but there's still a little bit of shock in there. That a little bit of extra spring helps keep your tires down. When you have no springs, you basically lose traction on your rubber. Your rubber's not pushing down. As you start to articulate over things, the springs help keep things forced downward. So definitely like to run with springs. There are some trucks I run without springs. Again, it just depends. It's personal preference. There is really no right or wrong way because it depends on your driving and how your rig is set up and the kind of terrain you're on. But generally speaking, I like them about, 60% compressed when it's naturally sitting. It also depends on how heavy your body is. So just keep all that stuff in mind when you're setting your truck up. Let's get the rest on. One little thing I wanted to point out. It looks like the shocks came with button head screws versus the links came with cap head screws. So just be aware. You can use either set either way. The cap heads are a little bit larger. They stick out a little bit more. You do have to use the cap heads here. So you can see we've got the caps there. But then we use the button heads, the lower profile type screws on all the shock link mounts and the shock mounts on the tops. I just kind of like the lower profile of the button head versus the cap. But you can, like I said, you can use either. Another thing of note, the links did come with extra O-rings, so I dig that. We mentioned earlier about extra stuff, so I'm glad that they came with the extra O-rings. Very good there. The shocks already were assembled with their O-rings on the inside and on the outside here. So you can see there, and then same on the lower portion. There's an inside and outside O-ring. They did not come with extras though. All right, so we're all together though. Looks good, dude. So it's looking good. I really dig the color, the red that matches. It's looking pretty sharp. And we're going to see a little bit of performance gain here for sure. Let's get us a little bit more weight down low, just a little bit. You can definitely add more weight to your portals and things of that nature, your servo tray, and that'll help you perform really well. Kind of wish we had uppers. I wonder if Batrazzi is going to come up with some 4-link type uppers. That would be nice. You'll get even better articulation that way. And probably a little bit more stability on the axle. Side-to-side stability is a little bit better when you have a triangulated upper versus a single mounting point upper. But other than that, man, these things look great. The machining is great. They went together easy. They went together with no issues. So I definitely dig that. Shocks are already filled with oil and they feel real smooth. So yeah, let's just get this guy all the way back together. Get you some beauty shots. All right, guys, here we go. You can see I gave a little bit of preload in the back. Not much, just a little bit because of the extra weight. Again, we're not doing a hardcore crawler with this guy. It's more of a trail rig. So the extra weight's not a big deal. We'll probably even do some more scale stuff. Like I said, we might change out the front bumper and whatnot. I do kind of want to get it sit a little bit lower, so we might do something there. But overall, this is an awesome rig. And every time I get a new FCX out of the box, I'm reminded at how amazing the modulation is. The throttle control with the 2-speed is just nuts. I mean, look at this. It's just so good. And then you still have your wheel speed. If I flip it over to second gear, it's like even faster. It's nuts. I love the 2-speed. It's fun because of the versatility. Again, if you're going for a hardcore rock crawler though, and you're never going to trail it, then there's no reason to have that 2-speed, that extra wheel speed. You don't really need it. But even so, like the 2-speed, you can use it to bump over things and things that you wouldn't normally be able to make. That extra wheel speed will definitely help you. But in a trail rig, like having a 2-speed is amazing. Again, it's just a regular brushed box stock. So probably, in my opinion, one of the best ready to run brushed trucks you can get. For a box stock brushed truck, I think the FCX platform is amazing. It's just awesome. The 2-speed is awesome. The servos it comes with, great. The motor it comes with is great. And the scale look is just fantastic. Turn on your lights, just press the bind button. Boom, headlights. Looks so good, guys. I love it. I love it. Tempted to put the roll bar lights somewhere on the cab. I don't know. Do we put them in the front? Just mount them straight to the front like that? You put them on the back, mount them like that. Put them on the capper? Probably not. Probably like this or like this. I don't know. Tell me what you guys think. Do you mount the lights to the front all the way forward? Or do we mount them on the back? Keeping the cab on here. The cap. We mount them on the bumper. When we get our McCue bumper on there, boom, mount them up in the grill. I don't know. Tell me what you guys think. Tell me what you guys think. We're absolutely loving this guy. We'll probably get some awesome little shorts and reels shot with this. But for today, I want you guys to get out there and build something awesome. Pick one of these up with all the extras. They're too good. When I added it all up, check this out. I'm going to add it all up real quick, put it in the cart. That way you can see the value you're getting. If you take just a basic $150 FCX24 K5 Blazer, they're $150. Then you add the links, you add the steering, you add the servo horn, the shocks, the tires, the wheels. You end up at $256, guys. $256, and that doesn't even include the awesome paint job or the interior. If you do that, that's the extra $10 for the base model, way Cool McCue. Even then, you're at $266, and you can pick this guy up just as you see it, the top level version for $199. So you save $50 to get this stuff, and I think it's way worth it. Definitely a killer deal. And man, like even just the paint and the body alone, I love the look of this thing. It's hard to convey in video how good this paint job is. It really pops. When we had William had his at the booth while we were at Proline, this truck got so much attention, and it wasn't even one of those fully customized trucks. It was just this, the Fair RC, way cool edition. And yeah, it just got so much attention. I was actually pretty shocked, but it looks amazing in the sunlight and whatnot. Oh, it just looks so good in person. All right, guys, like I said, get out there. I want you to build something, build a car, build a course, build a community, and then smash it, crash it, and bash it. Hopefully you don't smash, crash, or bash this guy, though, but maybe your other stuff. And we'll see you next time. Take care.